You're listening to the Warrior Rulebook podcast with me, Monique Harmon. I love helping people express themselves, protect their peace, and be confident in being them. You may also know me as Pretty Nikki, who started her online journey as a modest fashion blogger. Now I'm an entrepreneur. You'll see through my experiences and the experiences of others that change is possible, improvement is tasty, and meaningful connection is transformational. Come on, share your story with me. Hi, everyone. I'm Monique Harmon, the host of the Warrior Rulebook podcast. This podcast is brought to you by The Win Factory, a business that provides co-working spaces for the budding entrepreneurs in Wilmington, Delaware. Sign up today at winfactory.com. Tonight, we're talking about a common topic among young and old, depression and the rules on how to get out of it. Tonight, I am with Kasai Guthrie, a junior from the University of Delaware.
Hey,
welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here.
So, Kasai, I would like to start off talking about my story with depression. Okay. So, recently, after graduating from the University of Delaware, I had a hard time finding a job, which is very common among
for sure.
College graduates. And so, pretty much, I was just kind of like waking up and I didn't want to get out of bed, but my dad would encourage me, just keep going and, go out and look for it. And so as a result of that and talking to my other mentors, I know that I had to do something about it. Yeah. But it was really hard at first because sometimes that you have to do something, but you just don't want to. Yeah. And so
you don't have any energy to do it.
Right, yeah. Right. And it's that's the right thing to do, but your body is just not willing you to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of went every day just going about my day, but it just felt like it didn't have a purpose. And I knew that was missing from what I was doing. And my friends kind of noticed that I was falling off and they would ask about it and are you okay? And I just didn't want to talk to anybody. And I knew I was isolating myself, but that was the only way that I actually felt better.
That's where you felt comfortable, because a lot of people don't really, understand that. When you are going through that, through that phase, and you're all these people are trying to help you, but you just don't want that. You just don't, you're not in the right frame of mind, you know what I mean, to accept that help. And, you're just energyless.
Mm-hmm. And so finally, when I actually started, getting more into work and filming and interviewing people and talking to people, I started finding my purpose again, which I'm very thankful for. Now I do have a job and I feel more stable, so I am thankful for that. And, I just am thankful for all the support that I had, this whole time. But you're here, so, would you like to share your story about
Yeah, for depression? Sure. Growing up, I think I've experienced depression on a few occasions. The first occasion that I've experienced it was when I was going through puberty, and I was analyzing life from all aspects. And it was this one driving question that I always had, and it was just, why don't I have a father? And, I knew who my father was, and I talked to my father, but he just wasn't in my life the way I wanted him to be. And I compared our relationship to, my closest friends' relationships that had perfect relationships with their fathers. And, ultimately this driving question drove me into a deep hole of depression where I was skipping school, hanging out with the wrong crowds, experimenting with drugs and alcohol, and just doing things I shouldn't be doing, and things that I just never even wanted to do, and it changed everything about me. Right. And the outcome of that experience was me getting expelled from the high school I was going to. And I had two choices when that happened, and that was to keep going down this dark hole, or change my life and try to help others. So I chose the second option, and that is how I created We Need Our Fathers. But another occasion, an experience that where I went through depression was definitely during college. I feel as though I would assume that a lot of people go through it simply because things are moving fast, and we're at that age between like 18 and 23, where some people might have everything going on in life, or appear to to have everything going on in life, and others don't know what they want to do with their life, and others are just started growing up and started realizing what they want to do. So it's just like a lot of like soul searching that's attached to depression.
Right, and it's definitely a different experience at that time too, because like you're just kind of thrown into a new environment, and you kind of in control of all of your decisions. So it's kind of hard to see like where you kind of fit in.
Yeah, and you want to do good though. Like I feel like a lot of people think that like Gen Z and millennials don't really want to do good and want positive things. It's just there's no opportunities for a lot of people, especially after college. Like the major you decided to take during your freshman year might be something that doesn't have any job openings when you're a senior, so you have to just start all over again. And it's just like the longest 4 years, because it's supposed to be the best years of your life, but in the back of your head, like after like freshman year, that's when like it starts setting in, like dang, like I'm growing up, like I got to get my stuff together. So
freshman year was rough.
Freshman year is always rough, but it's the best year because you don't have any worries about growing up until you become a sophomore, and time is flying. And like you said, like you're looking on the internet and you're seeing other people being successful, other people living life to their fullest. You're seeing some people not working and literally just living off their parents, but they're living like this crazy good life, and you're envying it. And
they're always going to the beach,
for sure,
going shopping and stuff. They're like, oh, I got these new Jordans. Like,
for sure. And you're just like, dang, like I gotta go to work today just to make something happen. But it's a lot for our age group for sure, because our parents didn't grow up with phones and the ability to do the things that we can do at our fingertips. So I think depression definitely needs to be talked about more in our age group, especially for males, because a lot of guys think that like you can't talk about your feelings, and that it's not it's not manly enough to talk about how you feel and what you're going through. And I definitely want to show people that you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, and you admitting that you're depressed, or you admitting that you're sad, or that you cried, or whatever, doesn't take away from who you are and the value you have.
Right, because that's what makes you human. And so it's good to be able to relate with everybody about different, issues that all of us are facing collectively and individually as well. And so let's circle back to like when you said that you had a choice of whether or not to keep going down that path or actually do something about it. So like what actually helped you dig yourself out of the hole?
It was probably one of the hardest decisions, because you're comfortable with what you're doing. You're doing less, so when you're doing less, you're comfortable with doing less and less and less. And I can't really pinpoint the exact thing that helped me push me, but it was hard. Like it was really difficult. Like it's difficult because you don't have energy. Like every single day you wake up and you're tired. You're even more tired than you were when you went to bed the night before. And it's just like it's super difficult. It's super difficult, but it's worth it. It's worth it afterwards. Like, and any position that you put yourself in that makes you uncomfortable is always going to help you in the long run. So I knew that I had value.
Yes.
Like I knew that I had value, and I knew that if I was to go down that deep hole, then I would have been a shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I always envied those people growing up, just because I didn't want to be a shoulda, coulda, woulda type of person that if he would have done this, he would have been great. I just wanted to make that decision right there in the moment and give it a shot. And another thing is, is trying to do different things. And what I mean by that is, so if you know that what you're doing currently is getting you those same results of how you're feeling, then you should try different things. Because you know that, all right, like if I try a different thing and it makes me feel that same way, it's fine because I'm already in this position anyway. So it was just trying new things that, you know, that will help me in the long run.
So, like, how are things with your father now?
Things are fine. Things are fine. I was just over his house a couple of days ago.
Nice.
You know, we built our relationship, and I've actually completed an online course for We Need Our Fathers that helps children that were just like me get over the hurt that is associated with growing up without a father. But
that's great. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. But I had a question for you. You know, when you were going through, because all graduates go through this, where like they can't job opportunities aren't happening fast. But how did you actually like get over that? Because, you know, how old are you?
22.
So you're seeing people that, you know, at age 22, you might have some friends that are like have jobs, some friends that are about to get married, some friends that have kids. Like it's a weird age. Like from 18 to 23, like it's the most weirdest age, because I have friends that are engaged. I have friends that are about to have kids. I have friends that are unemployed. Like it's like a weird age where everybody is just on their own island. Yeah. So, you know, how did you overcome what you were going through?
So for me, thankfully, I had a great support system. I have a great system at my church, and they're really supportive. They're kind of invested in me. Yeah. And so, like, they always, like, ask me how my progress is, and they're saying, like, oh, we're praying for you and stuff like that. And I had to, like, you know, I still wanted to have a close relationship with God, because I believe, you know, praying to him and believing in him, he'll get things working for you. And, of course, it's going to take work from me myself just to, like, you know, do a lot better. And so I did spend a lot of time by myself, but I also tried to make sure that I talked to my friends as well, just so, like, we were all in the same loop, because being around your friends, like, it is very helpful. Yeah. Also, I just kind of threw myself into, like, work and just kind of learning new skills, because, as you said, like, sometimes the things that we go to school for, we don't really use. And so it's definitely important to learn things that are in demand, and especially if you're passionate about it. And just kind of learn those kind of skills. So that's kind of what I did. Also, I would say that I just kind of threw myself into music, into singing, like a lot of creative streams, just to try to get myself out and encourage myself to just get out of that space. Yeah. So I would say, like, can we do the 3 takeaways now? No, not yet. Okay.
But I have a question.
I have another question.
How do you feel about social media in this age?
So social media is a good thing, but it could also be a very bad thing, because, like you said before, people are constantly comparing themselves online. And so it's kind of like you see somebody, like, constantly posting content every day, and they're just blowing up in, like, followers. And then you look at yourself and you're just like, and it's like a low follower count. And so people kind of, like, get misconstrued that, like, there's one certain type of beauty or something like that, and then they continue to compare themselves to the other people. So I just think that it's really unhealthy.
I feel as though, because you know, I'm a guy, so, like, I know that, you know, I definitely know that the pressure that social media sets on women is just, like, totally different. You know, I feel like guys and, you know, girls and guys look at social media totally different. And I can speak from a guy perspective that, you know, social media definitely is a huge distraction. Well, like you said, it could be used in the right way or the wrong way. You know, social media could, if it's used right, it could be a great tool. You know,
like to bring awareness.
Yeah, to further your career. But if it's used negatively, it's definitely a bad tool. And it puts a lot of pressure on you, because you think that all these people are successful overnight. You know what I mean? Like, you're seeing, I don't even know who to bring up, but you're just seeing, you know, people, you know, hop on private jets and do all these lavish things.
Like travel influencers.
Yeah,
and bloggers.
The travel influencers. Yeah,
like, some people I've never heard of before, and they just come out of nowhere and they have, like, 30K followers. I'm like, how? Like, where did you come from?
Smoke and mirrors. You know, it's smoke and mirrors. Some of these people that are, doing, crazy things on social media aren't really doing that in real life.
Yeah,
and
some of them are buying followers, and some of them don't even have real pictures.
Exactly, and I think once you grasp that, like actually hold on to that and realize that, dang, like I just gotta just worry about myself, and trust God into my, process, then, it'll be worth it. Sometimes, I just always just think about, what things could be if I would have went back, and that's just living in regret, and I think once you stop living in regret, that definitely removes a lot of depression.
Yes.
Because I definitely think that regret is an ingredient for depression, and living in the past is for sure. But once you get out of that, it's good.
Yeah, that's why for me, like when I try to squash like the regret as much as possible, and so one thing I encourage my followers and my friends is, do one thing that scares you, but is doing something to help you succeed, and it's positive, because that way you won't be like laying in a bed an old age like, oh, I never did that.
Yeah.
So I think
that's the thing. I think that's the pressure that I definitely put on myself, is wanting to be great at the older age, where I look back and say, dang, like, I have no regrets, no nothing. And I think I need to stop for sure. And this is just me being vulnerable. I definitely need to stop thinking that way, because I need to live in, the moment, and live day by day, and start putting myself in uncomfortable situations. I just tweeted that like 2 days ago. I was just like, dang, like I've been way too comfortable, for the past days, and I definitely need to step in my uncomfortable zone, you know what I mean? Because
it's freeing. Yeah,
it is. It's freeing, and it's just like, it's just a different thing, when you're just living every day. Like, now that I don't post on IG, I don't really care about, likes or comments or anything. Like, I'm just living life. Like, I definitely should tell people to take social media cleanses. It helps.
Because what some people do, and like I had to get myself out of it as well, is like, when you go to like a concert or you go to a really fun event, like you grab your phone and you're
immediately.
Like,
and then you think back and you're like,
I wasn't in the moment. I didn't actually feel it, because I'm like trying to make sure I got good angles and everything like that. So it's really damaging. And like ever since I've done that, like it's been helping me so well. And it's like I'm a photographer, and so I do love taking pictures and I do love capturing moments, but it's a different feeling, it's like being behind the camera, whereas you're like, oh, I'm posting for social media. Yeah. So I feel like still being behind the camera, like I'm still able to experience it in that way, just by the way the picture tells the story. But then other times, of course, I want to be present as well.
Exactly.
So I had a question for you, because I know there is a stigma in our society today that like only a select few go through depression and everything. And so you kind of don't think it's going to be your best friend, or it's going to be like your mom or your dad. So like, what can friends do if they're not really sure if it's their friend is experiencing depression? Like, what do you think they should do to try to like interact with it? Or ask about it.
There's a lot of things, there's, because, different types of people, like in converse in different ways. I think, the best way is to sit your friend down, one-on-one, or take them out to eat and, just talk a little bit and, and just try to figure out what's on your friend's mind. I think, especially in our culture, being vulnerable and talking about your feelings is, not accepted and not, promoted. And even going to therapy, like I started going to therapy a year and a half ago. And, I always tell my friends to definitely do it, because growing up, like, people don't really talk about, therapy and how, positive it could be. But, after experiencing it, like, it's just like, it's the greatest thing on earth. Like, you have a person that you can tell all your information to, like, where they, like, they're just sitting there and you get to vent everything out to them. And then after the meeting's done, you just feel better, because you let all that out. So I definitely encourage, people to go to therapy, especially people in the Black community to go. No more questions. Well, I really love, your podcast. I love, your message, and, what you're trying to do, because this is definitely needed. And, a lot of older, adults don't really know what we go through on a day-to-day basis because they're trying to compare their lives with our lives. And, they're not growing up in the age we're growing up in. We have access to information every single day. If we wanted to go on our phone and book a vacation and leave today, we could literally in a second. So it's just a different time, and I definitely think that your podcast will help older people that are listening to change the way they perceive young adults.
So what do you think about like how parents, I guess, can confront the issue, like if their children are experiencing it, since we live in different times?
Yeah, I definitely think it should be in a less confrontational way. Sometimes they'll probably get angry because they're laying down, like their kids are laying down all day.
And then they're perceived as lazy.
And now they're perceived as lazy. Or, oh, you're not depressed. You don't go to work every day and pay bills, and there's nothing for you to be depressed about, and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, there is. And you could be depressed, too, because you're going to work every day and you're trying to provide. But that doesn't take away from, how I feel. But I definitely think that it should be in a non-confrontational way and, more in a conversation.
Right.
And listening more. The same way our parents tell us to listen first, it should be, reversed, where, our parents should listen to us and talk later, for sure. But
yeah, even both ways, like just kind of like understanding where each side is coming from.
Yeah, understanding. And, there's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect way of handling things. But just respecting one another and, putting out love will definitely help every situation, for sure.
3 things that I would like you guys to walk away with would be pretty much remember like where you are in your life, and, you're young and you're constantly growing every day. And just remember like all the work that you put in to get to this point, and that it's not in vain and you can just keep working towards it. The second thing I would say is have faith in God and in yourself that you can accomplish things, and like what you're passionate about, and having your purpose really helps with that. So just know that you're not alone in this, and that you should talk to somebody that can help you. And the third thing I would say is Rome wasn't built in a day. And so like that means that your goal, it might be far now, but as long as you keep working towards it and have a plan and don't like obsess over it, then it should be a healthy like ride up to that point. So you don't want to always focus on like where you are right now. Like just trust in the process that you will make it and that you will attain your goals.
Well, I had fun.
Thank you for being here, Kasai.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to see, where this podcast goes, and I can't wait to see all the great things that comes to you.
Thank you. I really don't know how to end.
Peace out.
Peace out. Bye. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Warrior Rulebook podcast. If you like what you heard, share it with a friend, and join me over at the Warrior Rulebook Podcast Insider Group on Facebook. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more tips on how to be resilient in this world.